Thank you for asking me to talk to everybody here today. Just to give you a bit of background, so my name's Alison Ramsey. I'm the Social Value and Performance Manager for Scape Group. Scape is a public sector body. We're owned by 6 local authorities, and our purpose is to procure built environment frameworks that other public bodies can then call off. So each of our frameworks is 4 years, and we procure frameworks for construction, civil engineering and consultancy. So then other public bodies can call off those frameworks and use those frameworks without them having to go to tender and actually do the tender and evaluation themselves. So when we procure the frameworks, we actually evaluate cost, quality and social value. So there was a reference earlier on about the race to the bottom and everything public sector being the cheapest. And by setting a cost, quality and social value evaluation, we hope that we avoid contractors being able to buy the frameworks, if you like, because it's not just all about the lowest cost. So what that means is we set targets in our frameworks for engaging with social enterprises, for supporting local community groups, for offering expert advice and volunteer time, training, employment and skills, offering opportunities to ex-offenders, NEETs, all those sorts of groups that need some support. So the type of companies that are awarded our frameworks are those that meet all of those criteria. They're the sort of companies that for them that's just business as usual, that just runs through their DNA, it's what they do. Wilmot Dixon was mentioned earlier. They've been one of our partners for over 10 years now, and they do really lead the way. We also work with one of our partners is Balfour Beatty and Waits. All of those are on the Buy Social Corporate Challenge because it's something that they recognise that buying from social enterprises is a way of giving back to the community. They get a great product, but they also support many different things through the social enterprise network. So my job is to make sure that once these companies are on our frameworks and they are delivering contracts for public bodies, that they do adhere to all the things that they said they would in their bids. So if they told us they were going to do X number of apprenticeships, I need to make sure that they're doing that. So all of our Scape projects, our partners have to submit a return every month on all the things that they're doing, and we check that they're meeting all the criteria that we set for them. 85% of their spend needs to be with local businesses, and they need to employ 85% local people. So it means the tier 2, the supply chain, is really crucial for them meeting their objectives. My job's made really easy because the sort of people that we work with, the sort of partners that we have to get on the framework, means that this is the sort of thing that they do as business as usual. So we set them some really challenging targets and we expect them to meet those targets. It's a 4-year relationship, and the only way that they're going to get back the money that they spent bidding for that framework is through repeat business. So it's really in their interest to delight the customers, to give the customers what they want, otherwise they just won't get any more work. So over that 4 years, they can build up a really good relationship with the clients and the local authorities, the local areas that they're working in, and they can build up a really good relationship with their supply chain as well, and help their supply chain to deliver those CSR requirements. A lot of our partners have a volunteer day, so they have at least one day, some of them have 2, where their employees are given time out to go and work on CSR projects to help local charities or community groups doing various things. And about a year ago, I suppose we thought, do you know what, we're working really hard to make sure that all of our contractors and all of our framework providers deliver all this corporate social responsibility, but what are we actually doing ourselves? We employ about 200 people directly, and we know that lots of them are doing lots of really good stuff. We weren't capturing any of it. We had no idea when there was scout leaders, school governors, all those sorts of things that people were doing. And that's where we got in touch with the investors in community, and we are now embedding that into Scape as something that we're going to be rolling out to everybody to make sure that we are capturing what everybody's doing, and we are seeing what we do as a business as well as what we facilitate through our frameworks. So that's why I'm here today. Okay. Thank you.
You too. took me by surprise. That wasn't 10 minutes. That's amazing. Do you want to take any questions? Anyone got anything they would like to comment on? Any of your own experiences that you'd like to share? Anything you want to ask Alison? No?
I'll ask one if I could.
Yes?
I wonder how you really know when they've responded and said they've got 100 apprentices. I mean, apprenticeships that can be 4-year, at least university level,
Yep.
in terms of the amount learnt, and there can be, I've seen some in Yorkshire that are at best 6 weeks.
Yep. Okay, so we use Social Value Portal, the national TOMS, and there's very specific measures there about whether it's an apprenticeship that has been a start on site or a completion on site. If it's only been a number of weeks on site, then has that company supported that apprenticeship through to completion? And if they don't, then it doesn't count. We're very fortunate that we have a team of people. I have a team of people that verify that data on a monthly basis, and we have a team of auditors that go in and audit that data every 6 months. So things like waste transfer notes that show that how much has been taken to landfill, fair payment. So we insist on adhering to the government fair payment regulations. So we check, invoices coming in dates and invoices paid dates, all that sort of thing. And it's because we've got the manpower to do that local authorities just don't have the manpower to do. They can put all of these lovely things into contracts, and contractors can say, yes, we'll do this, this, this and this. But then once the contract gets going, they're concentrating on the build. Is the build right? Rather than did they get an apprentice? But that's the advantage of Scape, is that we've got a team of people that can make sure that what they said they're going to do, they actually do. And we do verify the data, and we do check the evidence, and we audit it.
Thank you. I thought that was brilliant, and I really admire the idea that you focus on this 85% local employment. And we've stood for local employment and local engagement, local economy development. That's the principle that we have. The kickback we get from a lot of local authorities is actually that's anti-competitive. We can't get the best price. We won't get the best innovator if we stick to the local supply chain, and it might support nepotism or something like that. So how have you managed to overcome those objections?
Okay, so through our frameworks, we engage with one tier 1 contractor, so the likes of, say, Wilmot Dixon. When they're doing the work packages that sit underneath that, so all the various different trades that come of a project, they are required to get a minimum of 3 quotes. And then they can speak to the client, and they will sit down with the client. It's very much client-led, and they will say to the client, okay, so we've got this quote, and this is a company that's within 10 miles. We've got this quote, it might be cheaper, it's 20 miles. It's up to you which one you want to go with. So it's driven by the client's objectives. If the client says, absolutely, I need it to be, and we've got things like Nottingham City Council, they're only interested if it's in an NG postcode, and Birmingham as well. They want it to be a city postcode. It needs to be within, a very close area. Others, generally if it's a local authority, it's within their election boundaries that they want that to be kept. But it's very much talking to the client, and the client drives whether they're very focused on it being local or they're very focused on it being not so expensive or whatever. Sometimes if you've got off-site construction, we can't do local because it's wherever it is, wherever the factory is that's doing it. But generally speaking, it's very much led by the client.
Thank you. Any more? Anybody got their own CSR journey that they'd like to share?
So one of the organisations that you mentioned, and I don't know whether it's built into your framework, but they run a employee feedback scheme, and that employee made a recommendation about a service that they received in the third sector, and then through their foundation they then gave a grant. Is that built into your framework, or is that just a consequence of it's a family-run enterprise and they have a foundation?
Yeah, no, I mean, a part of that is just the type of organisations that we work with tend to be those sorts of organisations that have a social conscience, that are a purpose before profit. But part of it is that we do have drivers in the framework about the levels of support that they give to community groups, including sort of financial support or expert advice or that sort of thing. So that there's all sorts of requirements that they need to meet the requirements of the framework, but also they tend to be the sorts of organisations that would be part of what they would do anyway.
I'm interested in your own experience of this. So you've got 200 employees?
Yes.
How do you encourage them to actually sign up and do all this? Because it's great for you as an organisation to say, it's good for us to do it. But how do you motivate the individuals to get on and be involved?
Some of them it's easy, some of them it's leaning on an open door. They're the sorts of people that want to work for our organisation because we are a socially responsible organisation. What we do is public sector. It's about sharing the economies of scale and improving communities. So generally they're the sorts of people where that's kind of their mindset in the first place. We do have others that have come to us from a commercial background, that have come from the private sector, that are money driven. But I think if you can appeal to the fact that delivering CSR actually is good for the business financially, as well as it's the right thing to do. I think if you can prove to them that we are a more successful business and we are more financially successful because of it, appeal to that kind of mentality, that side of them, then that helps them. And others, like I say, it's kind of their mindset anyway. So that's the two sides of it.
But do you think that employers are increasingly looking for that kind of mindset to appear on a CV? I mean, we're looking for skills. There are skills shortages, we know that. We're up against it in lots of sectors, trying to fill our gaps. But equally, more employers, it seems to me, are employing for attitudes, mindset, aptitudes than necessarily just qualifications and skills.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things can be taught, but that sort of thing can't be taught. You can't teach somebody that if they're either of that mindset or they're not. But I think it's almost flipped the other way in that we're getting young people coming to us that are sort of saying, what do you do? What do you give back? And they're almost choosing you as an organisation because of what you do, rather than what's the highest salary. It's how what am I going to be able to do whilst I work for you that's going to make me feel like I'm making a difference.